Good morning, students at home. We're going to continue from where we stopped last week. So last week we had a big discussion on the topic minority and the creation of state. Minority and the creation of state. So I told you last week that Nigeria is seen as one of the countries that has so many ethnic groups, and as a result of that, we have over 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria. And I also told you last week that these groups are divided into two. We have the major and the minor group. And under the major, we have the Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, and the Yoruba. These are the major ethnic groups in Nigeria: Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, and Yoruba. Then talking about the minor groups, we have so many of them. I'll mention just a few. We have T, Igala, Irobo, Ishekiri. We have Isoko, Efik, Idoma, and the rest of them. They are much. So I also told you last week that these minority groups are found to be among the most marginalized group in Nigeria. Now, what do I mean by marginalized? They are seen as those groups that are not taking importance in Nigeria, though most of them contribute their quota in the development of Nigeria. So most of these ethnic groups are marginalized in Nigeria. They are seen as groups that have nothing to contribute in the growth of the nation. And as a result of that, so many of these minor groups suffer from pandemic and epidemic diseases. We're talking about the epidemic or pandemic diseases. These are diseases like Lassa fever, influenza, and the rest of them. And then these minor ethnic groups too, like I said before, do not have access to some social amenities like good roads, good pipe and water, good schools, and even healthcare services, because they are seen or taken as groups that are not important in Nigeria. And as a result of this negligence by the major groups in Nigeria, that's the Igbo and Yoruba, these minor groups continue to demand for the creation of more states, because they believe that when more states are created, that it will favor them, and they too will be independent, and they will also be regarded as a group that is important in the country. Now, these minor groups have continued to demand for the creation of more states in group and singly. So now we're going to see reasons why they continue demanding for the creation of more states. Remember, the group that are demanding for the creation of more states is the minor, not the major group. Now let's see reasons why the minor groups continue to demand for the creation of more states. All right. Now, the minor ethnic groups continue to demand for the creation of more states because they feel that they are not given the opportunity to have a better job, and they are denied access to what? Social amenities. So they have the strong belief that when more states are created, that the minor groups will not be denied of what? Job opportunities, and that they will also have more access to what? To social amenities. Like I said earlier on, you find that most of these minor groups contribute to their quota in the what? Development of the country. But most times they are being discarded, they are left aside because they are not maybe among the ethnic groups. Now, places like these oil producing areas, you find out that they contribute their quota in the development of the country. But those areas most times suffer from what? Pandemics, even natural disasters. If you're talking about natural disasters, you're talking about flood, earthquake, and the rest of them. So as a result of all this negligence, they continue demanding that we need more states so that we have more opportunity for what? For job. And then we have more access to what? Social amenities. Then secondly, the minority group accuse the major one for what? Maladministration and political victimization. Now that maladministration there means what? Lack of care or dishonesty in the management of the government what? Resources. Now the minor group here feels that the major groups are not doing their work well by not managing the resources of what? The government. Therefore, more states should be created because such should do what? Will favor them. Then the third point, the minor groups also continue demanding for the creation of more states because they know the fear that their language will be discarded, that their language will be what? Overshadowed by those of the major ethnic groups. So they keep on demanding for the creation of what? More states. I told you that they have the belief that when more states are created, that they too stand the opportunity of what? Of getting their own fairly shared whatever in Nigeria. Then apart from that, they also keep on demanding for the creation of more states because they know that when more states are created, that when more states are what? Created, that the government will be more closer to the people. Because they believe that with this major group, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba, that the government is somehow far from them. They do not feel the impact of government. But when more states are created, they believe that they too will be somehow closer to the government. So for that reason, more states should be what? Created. You see their fear. And then they keep on demanding for the creation of more states because they believe that when more states are created, that they too will get their own share of the what? Federally generated revenue. Now, what is this federally generated revenue? These are income that the state gets from taxes paid by individuals in the country. So they have the strong belief that when more states are created, that they will have what? More access to what? The federally generated revenue, and that the revenue will be shared what? Equally. You see their fear. So the minor groups continue demanding for the creation of more states. And they also said that when more states are created, that it encourages what? Political stability. Because the citizens will be what? Educated based on politics. And because of the negligence given to them by the major groups, like I said, they continue demanding for the creation of more states. And as a result of this, so many commissions were what? Were created just to look into the issue of the creation of states. We have so many commissions. But the scheme said we should look into the Willings Commission. We are not going to discuss that today. Our scheme said we should look into the Willings Commission based on the demand of the creation of states by the minority group. So by next week, we are going to see the recommendation of Willings Commission based on the creation of what? More states. And then we are also going to see the solutions to minority problems in Nigeria. Now this is a very short topic and an interesting one at that. So by next week we'll continue where we stopped. Thank you very much.